The shocking moment I found out my sister abandoned her child with me. Before we begin the story, make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss more incredible stories every day. The caseworker read my sister's text out loud, and my stomach dropped. "We're not doing this," Brielle wrote at 1:17 a.m. "He's safer with you. Don't call me." Reyes didn't look dramatic when she said it. Navy blazer, hair pulled back, voice flat like she was reading weather. But my hands sweated anyway because Milo was on my couch behind her, feet not touching the floor, hugging a stuffed dinosaur that was missing one eye. I was Michael, 29, a fourth-grade teacher who bought store-brand cereal and graded papers in the same hoodie. I lived in a one-bedroom over a laundromat. I wasn't wealthy, not powerful, not connected. I was just the person my family called when a tire was flat or rent was late. Now I was sitting across from a county caseworker while my sister vanished like she never existed. Reyes opened her folder. Printouts, my 911 call from 2 nights ago, the welfare check at Brielle's apartment, and a photo of her front door with an orange eviction notice half torn off. There was also a blurry screenshot of my phone showing 27 missed calls to her number, all red. "You can't just hand him back to the system," Reyes said. "But you also can't keep him without legal coverage. What happens if she shows up and screams kidnapping?" I asked. My voice cracked on the word like I was the one who did something wrong. Reyes met my eyes. "Then we need your proof. We need the story to be true on paper, not just in your heart." My principal had already asked why I missed 2 days. My landlord had already taped a noise complaint to my door because Milo cried at 2 a.m. And if Brielle decided to fight dirty, she'd call my school, my neighbors, anybody who would listen. She'd always been good at being believed. Reyes tapped the screenshot. "Do you have anything else from her? Calls, voicemails, receipts?" I did. I'd been collecting it in a shoebox like it was evidence from a crime show, text threads, a daycare invoice, a receipt for children's cough syrup at 3:08 a.m. The zipper on Milo's little backpack still had a tag on it, like she bought it just to drop him off. I just hadn't admitted what the evidence pointed to. Because the last thing she sent me wasn't a text, it was a threat. Brielle always knew how to land on her feet, usually on someone else's couch. Growing up, I was the kid who packed extra snacks just in case. She was the kid who borrowed mine and somehow made it feel like a compliment. Mom used to say, "Michael's my steady one," like steadiness was a consolation prize. Brielle was the spark, the story, the reason people laughed at dinner. Even when she lied, she smiled like honesty was optional. When Dad left, I was 13 and she was 16. I watched Brielle learn a new skill overnight, getting adults to rescue her. A teacher gave her extensions. A boyfriend bought her a used car she couldn't afford to keep. Meanwhile, I worked weekends at a grocery store and felt weirdly proud that no one had to save me. The reliable one label followed me into adulthood. I answered calls. I signed as emergency contact. I fixed Aunt Denise's leaky sink without being asked. Brielle called me Saint Mike when she wanted something and judgmental when I didn't hand it over fast enough. The last fresh wound happened 3 months ago at Milo's daycare pickup. Brielle was late, again, and I filled in because she texted, "Emergency at work, please." When she finally swept in, perfect hair, perfect lashes, she kissed Milo's forehead and said loudly, "See, Uncle Mike is great at babysitting. It's like practice for when he finally gets a life." I laughed because everyone was looking. Milo clung to my leg because he always did when she was late. In the parking lot, I said, "Bri, you can't keep doing this. He needs consistency." Her smile dropped for 1 second, like a mask slipping. "Don't talk to me like I'm one of your students," she snapped. Then she softened instantly and touched my arm. "You're my brother. You know I love him. I just need help sometimes." I believed her, or I wanted to, because I loved being the safe place for Milo. I loved that he ran to me with sticky hands and trusted I'd catch him. I just didn't realize Brielle was testing how far safe could stretch. Aunt Denise warned me back then, quiet as a confession, "People don't borrow stability, Michael, they take it." Now, staring at Reyes's folder, I heard Denise's voice like it was in the room. And I realized Brielle didn't pick me by accident at all. The night Brielle abandoned Milo started with my doorbell at 9:43 p.m. I remembered because I was grading papers, alone, trying to stretch my paycheck until Friday. The bell rang again, 2 quick jabs. When I opened the door, Brielle stood there with perfect lipstick and that practiced, nothing's wrong smile. Milo was beside her, small and sleepy, dragging a little blue suitcase that looked brand new. The wheels still squeaked. "Hey, St. Mike," she said. "I need you for, 2 hours. Max." 2 hours for what? I asked. She leaned in, whispering like my hallway was wired. "Work thing. Don't stress. I'll be back before midnight." Milo didn't look at her. He looked at me. His cheeks were blotchy like he'd been crying, and there was a faint pale band on his wrist, like a sticker got ripped off too fast. I crouched. "Hi, buddy." He held up the dinosaur. "Rex." Brielle was already nudging the suitcase over the threshold. "He ate. He's fine. Put on his show. He'll crash." That was when I noticed the backpack. The tag was still attached to the zipper, the kind you peeled off at checkout. Like she bought it today. Like she planned a visit long enough to justify new gear. "Brielle," I said, "you didn't call. What's going on?" She rolled her eyes. "Don't make it a thing. You always make it a thing." "It's my apartment," I said. "And that's your kid." She smiled and turned it into a joke. "Exactly. Family. He's with family." Then she pressed something into my palm. A thick envelope, the kind you got from a bank. "Hold that for me," she said. "It's boring. Just don't lose it." Her phone buzzed. She glanced down, face tightening. She kissed Milo's head without looking at him. "Be good for Uncle Mike," she said. "I'll see you soon." Milo whispered, "Mommy." Brielle's smile stayed frozen. "Soon." She backed into the stairwell and went fast, heels clacking like she was running from something. By the time I reached the railing, her car was already pulling out. At 1:17 a.m., the text came in. And on my kitchen counter, the envelope had my name typed on it. The first night, I moved like I was in a fire drill. I checked the locks twice. I Googled what to feed a 4-year-old at midnight, like there was a correct answer that wouldn't break him. Milo fell asleep on my couch, still wearing his sneakers, dinosaur tucked under his chin. I didn't wake him to brush his teeth. I threw a blanket over him and sat on the floor, listening to his breathing. At 2:03 a.m., he bolted upright and screamed. Not a nightmare scream, an alarm scream. He pointed at the dark hallway like something was there. I flipped on every light, hands shaking so bad I dropped my phone. "Bad man," he whispered. "What bad man?" I asked, teacher voice, the one that made kids feel safe. Milo pressed his face into my shoulder. "Mommy mad. Bad man loud." I carried him to my bed because it was the only room with a door that closed. He wouldn't let go of my shirt. He smelled like bubblegum shampoo and fear. By morning, my apartment looked like a daycare exploded. I didn't own kids' cereal, so I made oatmeal and cut a banana into coins. Milo ate 3 bites, then pushed the bowl away. "Mommy come?" he asked. "Soon." I lied, because it was the only word I had. At 8:20, my phone pinged, not her. A bank alert I didn't recognize, tied to the envelope on my counter. I finally opened it. Inside was a notice dated 2 weeks ago, final demand. Past due amount, $8,460. 41. It was for a storage unit in Brielle's name, but the secondary contact was me, my full name, my phone number, my work address. She listed my school. At 9:05, Milo's daycare called. "Mr. Harris, Brielle hasn't paid tuition since October." October. It was January. At 11:47 a.m., a new voicemail appeared from Brielle's number. It wasn't her voice, though, and it said my name like a warning. By the second day, the story belonged to everyone but me. I called Mom first because that's what you did when your sister disappeared with your sanity. Mom answered on the third ring, breathless like she'd been waiting. "Michael." "Honey, I talked to Brielle yesterday," she said. My throat tightened. "Where is she?" "She's stressed," Mom said. "She said you offered to keep Milo for a bit." "I did not offer," I said. "She dropped him off and vanished." Mom made a small, wounded sound. "Don't say it like that. She's trying." "Trying? Like abandoning your child was a new habit you were practicing." "Mom," I said, forcing calm. Milo woke up screaming about a bad man. "She hasn't paid daycare since October. She put my school on a delinquent notice. This isn't just stress." Silence. Then, "Maybe you're misunderstanding. That was the family curse. If Brielle hurt you, it was because you misunderstood her intentions." Aunt Denise called that afternoon. "Screenshot everything," she said. "Dates, amounts. Don't delete a single message." That evening, Mom showed up unannounced with a grocery bag and a smile that was too bright. She tried to scoop Milo into a hug. He froze and stepped behind my leg. Mom lowered her voice. Michael, if you call the police on your sister, you'll ruin her life. I'm trying to keep Milo safe, I said. Mom's eyes hardened. Then keep him safe quietly. After she left, Milo finally whispered the question he'd been holding all day. Uncle Mike, are you going to send me back? I didn't answer Milo right away, because any answer felt like a promise I might break. After he fell asleep, I played the voicemail again. A man's voice, close to the mic, breathing hard. Michael Harris, he said. Tell Brielle she can't hide. She took what wasn't hers. Then a click. No number. Just Brielle's caller ID like a mask. I forwarded it to Aunt Denise. She showed up that night and sat at my kitchen table, scrolling through my phone like a detective. That's someone collecting, she said. Collecting what? I asked. Denise tapped the bank notice. 8 grand behind. People don't get that far behind unless they're drowning. At 2:18 a.m., my phone pinged with a bank alert from my own account. A $73.29 charge at a gas station across town. I hadn't left my apartment. My hands went numb. Someone has my card. Denise didn't blink. Check your app. There was a second authorized user listed under my account. A name spelled slightly different. Brielle's middle name and initials, like she tried to hide in plain sight. She added herself, I whispered. Denise's voice turned sharp. She used your information. In Milo's backpack, I found a folded note tucked under crayons, Brielle's handwriting. If he asks, say I'm working. Do not take him to my place. Do not involve Mom. Under that, one more line made my stomach flip. If anyone calls about the unit, tell them you're me. That was when I stopped hoping this was temporary and started planning a visit. At 7:12 a.m., I left Milo with Aunt Denise and drove to Brielle's apartment. Her building smelled like old takeout. When I reached her door, my stomach dropped. Fresh tape crossed the lock, the kind landlords used when they were changing it. A maintenance guy looked up from his tools. You Brielle? No, I said. I'm her brother. Is she inside? He snorted. Not since last week. Sheriff came with papers. She didn't answer. Sheriff. I repeated. He pointed to a clipboard. Eviction. Past due. We're clearing the unit. He cracked the door, and I saw enough. Half-empty rooms, lighter squares on the walls where pictures used to hang, and Milo's booster seat tossed near the trash chute, strap cut clean through. I took a photo. Timestamp. Evidence. Next stop was the salon Brielle bragged about managing. The receptionist recognized me, then looked uneasy. Brielle hasn't worked here in months, she whispered. Last time she came in, she was jittery, like she hadn't slept. At Milo's daycare, Ms. Calder slid a folder across the desk. Brielle signed these, she said. She flipped to the last page. It was my name, in my handwriting, copied wrong, like someone traced it. Under it, permission for medical treatment, records release, and a new address for Milo. My address. MS. Calder watched my face. Mr. Harris, did you authorize this? My mouth went dry. No. As I walked out, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. One image attached. It was a photo of Milo walking into my building yesterday. I showed the photo to Aunt Denise and my skin went cold. The angle was from across the street, like whoever took it sat in a car and waited. Timestamp. For 52 p.m. yesterday. That's surveillance, Denise said. The storage notice had an address. We went. The manager said, auction in 10 days, then hesitated when Denise said, child welfare. A key appeared anyway. The door rolled up with a groan. The smell hit first, cheap perfume and stale smoke. Inside, bins, a bare mattress, piles of unopened mail. Denise sorted. I found payday lender letters and a red folder labeled Milo. Inside was paperwork from a family court clinic, missed appointments, warnings, and a note that said Brielle failed a mandated safety plan. Under that, a signed agreement. Brielle was ordered not to let D.C. be around Milo unsupervised. D.C. I found money order receipts made out to the same name. Derek Cole. Over and over. Denise went still. Who's Derek? Milo's voice came from behind us, soft and matter-of-fact. Derek is Mommy's friend. I turned, heart slamming. Have you met him? Milo nodded. He yells. He breaks cups. My phone buzzed. Brielle's number. Stop digging. It read, or you'll lose him. That text sat on my screen like a hand around my throat. Stop digging or you'll lose him. Back at my apartment, Denise helped me turn panic into paper. We spread everything across my kitchen table: storage notice, daycare balance sheet, forged signature, clinic packet, surveillance photo. Denise labeled each piece with date and source. Don't explain, she told me. Show. I froze my accounts and started a fraud report. The rep asked, "Do you know the person who did this?" I stared at Milo tracing letters on a worksheet. "Yes," I said quietly. "It's my sister." Mom called, defensive before I even spoke. "Brielle says you're making this dramatic," she said. "Did she tell you where she is?" I asked. "She needed space," Mom replied. "And she said you're threatening her." "There's a safety plan," I said. "A man she was ordered to keep away from Milo." Mom exhaled. "We handle family things in-house." Denise leaned in and said into the phone, calm as a judge, "Linda, in-house is how this got this bad." Mom hung up. That was my choice. Report now and become the villain, or wait and hope Derek didn't show up with that camera phone. Milo already flinched when doors shut too hard. He already asked Mommy come, like it was a prayer. I opened a document titled Timeline and started stapling my life to facts. Possible child abandonment. Prepare report. Before I could hit save, someone pounded on my front door. The pounding hit again, 3 hard blows that rattled the frame. Denise stepped in front of Milo. I peeked through the peephole and saw Brielle's face too close, eyes wild, mascara smeared. I cracked the door with the chain latched. "What are you doing here?" I whispered. Her voice broke on purpose. "Michael, please. I just needed one night. I was coming back." "One night turned into 3 days," I said. "And someone photographed Milo outside my building." "Okay," she breathed. "I can explain. Just don't involve anyone." Denise leaned into view. "Where have you been, Brielle?" Brielle's gaze snapped to Denise. "Can we talk alone?" "No," Denise said. "Not after you forged his name." Brielle's expression hardened. "Oh my God, you went through my things. You left a child," I said. Milo pressed closer to my leg. Brielle tried the sweet voice. "Hi, baby." Milo didn't answer. "You're turning him against me," she snapped. "I'm keeping him safe," I said. Her tone flipped. "Safe from what? You loved rules. You loved being right." Denise cut in. "Derek." Brielle went still. "You went to the storage unit," she said. "There was a safety plan," I said. "You were told to keep him away from Milo." "That paperwork is old," she snapped. Milo whispered, barely audible. "Bad man." Denise held up the surveillance photo. "Then who watched him and sent this?" Brielle's throat worked. "If you call CPS, Derek will take Milo from both of us," she whispered. "He'll destroy me. And everyone will hate you." She shoved her bruised hand through the gap, begging. "Just give him to me. I'll fix it." Milo started shaking. Brielle leaned closer and dropped her voice. "I have his birth certificate, Michael. And I can ruin you if you push this any further, Michael." After Brielle left, I locked the door and slid down it like my bones turned to water. Milo crawled into my lap without a word. Denise knelt in front of him and said, "You did nothing wrong. Adults make messes. You're safe here." When Milo finally slept, Denise and I sat at my kitchen table with my binder open. "We stopped playing her game," Denise said. "We make it official." The next morning, I met caseworker Reyes at the county office and laid out everything. Forged daycare signature, safety plan packet, money orders to Derek, surveillance photo, Brielle's threat. Reyes stayed neutral, but her pen moved faster. My hands shook the whole time. "Have you filed a police report for the fraud?" she asked. "I froze my accounts," I said. "I started one." "You may qualify for temporary guardianship today," Reyes said. "Stability while we locate her." "My family will say I'm stealing him," I said. "They can say whatever they want," Reyes replied. "The court cares about safety." Reyes explained the plan in plain language. Controlled meeting, neutral location, no solo contact, document everything. She drafted a message for me to send, short and boring on purpose. "Milo is safe. If you want to see him, meet me at county services at 3 p.m. with ID. Caseworker present." Denise made me screenshot the sent time, 10:14 a.m. At 2:46 p.m., my phone rang. Brielle's number. I answered on speaker with Reyes across from me. Brielle's voice was sweet. "Hi, Mike. I'm coming." Then she added one sentence that made Reyes sit up straight. "And I'm not coming alone, so don't do anything stupid, Michael." At 3:02 p.m., Brielle walked into county services wearing oversized sunglasses indoors. A man was beside her, guiding her by the elbow. Derek. Caseworker Reyes stood. Brielle Collins? This meeting is documented. Milo is not in this building. Brielle's chin lifted. Of course he isn't. Michael kidnapped him. Derek smiled without warmth. We're here to get the kid. Reyes didn't blink. You are not a legal guardian, she said to Derek. Sit down. Brielle, I need ID. Brielle slapped her license on the table, then dropped a crumpled copy of Milo's birth certificate like a weapon. He's mine, she said, staring straight at me. Safety matters, Reyes replied. So do facts. Reyes read from her notes. Drop-off time, the 1:17 a.m. Text, the 3 days of silence. Brielle laughed. He offered. He loves playing dad. I slid the daycare form across the table. Then explain my name on your paperwork, I said. My signature traced like a child did it. Brielle's eyes flicked to Derek. You signed stuff before. Reyes flipped to the money order receipts. And these payments to Derek Cole? Brielle talked too fast. He helped me. He loaned me money. Reyes cut in. There's evidence of account access under Michael's name, and a clinic packet showing you failed a mandated safety plan. DC is listed as a risk factor for Milo. Brielle's shoulders sagged for 1 second. Then her face hardened. I needed time, she snapped. Milo was safer with Michael than with me and Derek fighting. By forging my name and listing my school? I asked. Derek leaned in, annoyed. Stop talking. Reyes wrote, then looked up. I'm recommending immediate temporary guardianship for Michael. Brielle pointed at me, eyes blazing. If you do this, I'll destroy you publicly. Reyes didn't react to Brielle's threat the way my family would, with panic or bargaining. She reacted the way systems did. She slid a form toward me. Sign here for temporary guardianship, she said. This allows medical care, school decisions, and emergencies. It does not terminate parental rights. Brielle stood so fast her chair scraped. You can't do this, she snapped. He's my son. You can contest it in court, Reyes replied. Today, the priority is safety. Derek leaned toward me as Brielle stormed out. His voice was low, meant only for my ears. You like being the good guy? Good guys get tired. Reyes watched my face. Do you feel threatened? Yes, I said. Then we discuss a protective order, she replied. Back home, the backlash started immediately. Mom called, furious. How could you humiliate your sister in front of strangers? I care what Milo needs, I said. Mom's voice turned colder than I'd ever heard it. Then don't call me when this ruins your career. An hour later, my principal emailed. Can you come in tomorrow? We need to discuss a concern raised by a parent. My blood went ice. Brielle went for my reputation first because it was the only weapon she had left. That night, an unknown number texted me a screenshot from a local mom's group. My face, pulled from the school website. Caption: Is anyone else worried about Mr. Harris keeping a child that isn't his? Denise read over my shoulder. This is why we used paper, she said. This is why we don't keep it in-house. The next morning, I walked into the principal's office with my binder and Reyes's guardianship order. I set it on the desk like a shield. Before you say anything, I told him, I have documentation. He flipped through, eyes widening at the forged signature and the safety plan. Then he looked up and said, Michael, there's someone outside insisting on seeing you. The someone outside was my mother, with Brielle behind her. Mom wore her church coat like armor. Brielle kept her chin high, but her hands shook around her phone. The principal stood between us, unsure. I'm Milo's grandmother, Mom said, sweet as syrup. We just want to clarify what's happening. Michael is unstable right now. That word, unstable, landed like a slap. It was what people said when they didn't have proof. I didn't argue. I opened my binder and slid the temporary guardianship order across the desk. Here's what's happening, I said, keeping my voice flat. Milo is safe. Any contact needs to go through the county. Brielle scoffed. You're acting like I'm a criminal. You forged my name, I replied. You left him. You threatened me. Mom's eyes flashed. Your sister is sick. She needs support, not paperwork. Denise appeared at my shoulder, steady. Support isn't the same as cover. The principal scanned the document, then nodded once. Paper drained the drama out of the room. That afternoon, caseworker Reyes met me at Milo's daycare. We updated pickup lists. We switched Milo's emergency contact to Denise. I signed a payment plan for the overdue tuition, so Milo kept his spot. Reyes handed me next steps: pediatric checkup, child therapist referral, contact log, and a protective order if Derek or Brielle approach my home again. At home, I built routine like scaffolding. Toothbrush by the sink, shoes by the door, stickers for bedtime. Milo slept through the night, more often once he believed I'd still be there in the morning. I sent one message, and only one, with boundaries in writing. Supervised visits only, county communication only, no surprise contact, no money, no access. 2 weeks later, a family court envelope arrived with our first hearing date in bold. Milo watched me open it, eyes huge, waiting for my face. Is mommy going to take me away again today? The court hearing didn't feel like a movie moment. It felt like waiting in a dentist office with your heart on the table. Reyes explained things in plain words. Temporary guardianship stayed unless Brielle proved stability, safe housing, and compliance with the safety plan. Derek was ordered to have zero contact with Milo. Brielle got supervised visitation at the county center if she showed up sober and on time. When the judge spoke, Brielle cried. Real tears this time, not performance. She looked at me like I betrayed her. And maybe, in the version of family she grew up in, where consequences were optional and love meant cover, I did. After, Mom didn't hug me. She hugged Brielle and said, loud enough for me to hear, we'll fix this. Like Milo was a broken appliance. Denise walked beside me to the parking lot. You didn't ruin your sister, she said. You interrupted her. Back at home, Milo put a sticker on the bedtime chart and grinned like he'd won a trophy. He asked me to read the same picture book 3 times. He started calling my apartment, our house, without realizing it was a dangerous sentence for me to love. I still grieve Brielle. I grieve the sister I thought I had. I grieve the idea that being the reliable one would ever be appreciated instead of exploited. But I learned something clean and hard. Love wasn't endless rescue. Love was safety. Love was paperwork when paperwork was what kept a child from being used as a bargaining chip. If you're in something similar, here's the practical takeaway I wish someone had drilled into my head sooner. Document everything the moment your gut says this is wrong. Screenshot texts with timestamps. Save voicemails. Write down dates. Email backups to yourself. If a child is involved, don't let anyone guilt you into handling it quietly. Quiet is where abusers and scammers thrive. And here's the hopeful part. Kids can heal when adults finally stop lying. Tonight, Milo handed me Rex and said, Uncle Mike, you keep me. I squeezed his small hand and answered the promise I avoided on day 1. Yeah, buddy, I keep you.